All right, we're going to switch gears here from the criteria and definitions and wording into a little bit of a different perspective. And first of all, I'd like to thank Paul Resta and everybody who put this conference together for inviting me. It's a real honor. We're trying to do a lot of work across K-12 education and making changes. And NACOL, when I came to this nonprofit 4 years ago, we had 300 members. And today we have 3,500 members and 50 members from around the globe. One of the first things that I did when I left the U.S. Department of Education was to really ask the question, what's happening around the world in not just K-12 education, but in K-12 e-learning specifically, and developed an international survey for K-12 online learning. Those results are on our website. And the research that went into the survey, we had almost 100 countries respond to that. The contacts that I had made from ministries of education around the world and other people across the field. So today I wanted to share with you not only a national perspective about what is happening with virtual schools, but really what changes are happening in the future of education that will need to drive changes in how we define teacher education. So I'm going to focus on the international global perspective and how it relates to the professional development questions that we asked in the survey, and also take a look at some big trends that are happening. The first is, those of you might be familiar with the World Future Society. They don't just focus on education, they focus on major changes and trends that are going to change and transform life as we know it globally. And they've made these predictions for the last 15 years. They have a huge data set that's housed at George Washington University. They have been accurate 97% of the time, plus or minus 3 years in their predictions. What is the only item on this list about breakthroughs that will transform global life that relates to education? And it's about virtual education and distance learning, and we're already starting to see those shifts in terms of what populations in third world countries and first world countries will have access to the very best teachers anywhere, anytime, any place, and what resources will be available. You're going to see these trends play out a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening around the world. So in this survey, follow with me, just a quick 5-minute overview as we take a look at what's happening globally. In Mexico, when I went down in 2004, Mexico's had their entire K-12 content and curriculum digitized for more than 5 years now. It's interactive, it's dynamic. Every single pre-service program at the university level in Mexico trains teachers to use digital content to do instruction. They do not have the same internet access at home in Mexico that many of our communities have. However, they provide CDs, they provide that same content in all of their community technology centers and libraries. They provide every new teacher with a laptop in Mexico as well. So if you go across the ocean over into Europe, there are some very interesting things. One of our members is the International Baccalaureate Program. And those of you familiar with the International Baccalaureate Program across the country in K-12 may be surprised to learn that in 2008, last fall, a year ago, they launched the IB diploma program online. 3 years ago, they had an idea to get funding from foundations and create what they called gold standard online classes with the same rigor and tough academics that are involved in the IB program, and then train what they call master teachers, very high-level teachers in their subject and content areas, but to give them the skills and knowledge, pedagogical